to the Sports Wrap. It's a yearly tradition, our MLB preview segment with Nick Friar, our Red Sox analyst, before we get to our predictions. What do you make of the Sox 2 days out of opening day? Alex Cora announcing the rotation. I mentioned it earlier in the show. Sort of a weird setup, or you're buying into how it's going?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Look, this is going to change throughout the course of the season. Guys might get injured. You might see someone needs a little extra day rest. Things like that happen. I mean, I know they're going to need a sixth starter going out to start the season. So I don't make too much of it right now, Yianni. I think the big thing now is Sandy Leon seeing where he ends up going with that. Because the ball's kind of in his court. I think the Red Sox played that well with the amount of money he's getting. He makes him less appealing to other teams. It makes him less inclined to want to leave. So I think that things are going to work out well on that.
Worried about David Price with this sickness. He got rocked a little bit today. He's going to be the Game 5 starter for the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for the year. I mean, it's to start things. So I don't think that that's going to be the way it is going forward. It's just one day in the rotation. I mean, if it means he matches up against the 5 every time, then that works out great for the Red Sox because you're stacking the deck. But by and large, I'm not worried about Price at all. No, the only thing about Price I will say is Sandy Leon is his guy. Not having Sandy Leon might be a bit of an adjustment for him. That's the one thing to watch early.
All right, the Red Sox, World Series champs, AL East champs, 108 wins, blew through the playoffs. How does this year come out? We're going to get your prediction for wins, what they do in the division, how far in the playoffs, and your team MVP. Let's show the graphic. Nick Friar predictions, there they are. Explain yourself.
Okay, so 96 and 66, I think that the Rays, who were a relatively easy team for the Red Sox early in the year, are going to create some more problems. So I think you're going to lose a couple games there. And then I just think, by and large, it's hard to predict a team to win 100 games. So 108, I mean, that's still, to do that again, a little bit much. I think winning the AL East, it's going to be by a couple games. It's still going to be very close.
Over New York.
Over the Yankees, but the Yankees will make the postseason. And I wouldn't rule out the Rays making it there as well.
Okay.
They lose in the ALCS, that will be to the Cleveland Indians. I buy into the Indians. Their starting rotation is lights out. I understand they have some injuries going into the season. There are question marks about Ramirez and Lindor, but I like that team a lot. They've been there before. And then J.D. Martinez, team MVP. He should have been the MVP last year. I still think it should have been him over Mookie Betts. And I know last year I made a little bit of an off-the-wall prediction. When I make this prediction, it's not necessarily about who's the most talented player on the team, because top to bottom, it's Mookie because he plays defense.
Most valuable to them winning day in and day out.
Exactly. And JD does stuff off the field that makes a huge difference.
All right, time now for my predictions. Pretty similar to yours, some differences. I have them winning 98. I agree, 100 wins is just, despite them and the Yankees both winning them last year, it's just crazy. You're laughing.
Because you went on a real limb here with this one.
I've been underselling the Red Sox the last couple of years. I'm all in this year. They're going to win the AL East. They're going to win the World Series, and the team MVP is Mookie Betts. They bring everyone back from last year's team, and I have them winning 10 fewer games than last year. Their rotation 1 through 5 is as solidified as you can get in Major League Baseball. So if those guys do what they have to do, and I think the lineup is consistent, it's the same as last year. Even Pedroia you add to the mix.
Who did they lose? They lost Kimbrel and they lost Kelly, so their bullpen. I mean, I know Kimbrel.
I'm a little worried about the bullpen.
The bullpen's the one thing I'm concerned about right now. I think they made some incorrect decisions. I've been beating the Marcus Walden drum for a while now. I think that they missed out there. I think Hernandez will see him up at the Major League level at some point this year as well. But I think in the postseason, my biggest concern is, again, their bullpen. I mean, it's just what it comes
That's where it's going to come back to haunt them. All right, as for the rest of Major League Baseball, we're going to go through your AL and NL predictions. Here they are.
Okay, so I think Sale is going to stay healthy throughout the course of the season, and then when he does that, he is the best pitcher in the American League right now. Look, AL MVP, Mike Trout, all the Mike Trout, like truthers or whatever, they're going to They are going to be in full force in the voting this year. If it is close between him and Mookie Betts, Trout is going to win. Nola finished 3rd last year in the NL Cy Young voting. If you get a chance to watch him, I highly recommend it. If you're a pitching fan, very easy on the eyes. Nolan Arenado is, I still think, the best player in the National League right now. I know Harper's going to get a lot of love in Philadelphia, but I think Arenado's the guy. And then I have the Brewers.
Small market World Series.
Yes, this is exactly what all of Major League Baseball wants to do. Milwaukee versus
not
Cleveland.
On Fox Providence where the World Series airs.
100%. But no, I think the Brewers are a fun team. I think that they're a couple pieces away, but they've shown that they'll go out and get those guys if they need to at the deadline. And they've been talking to Kimbrel. So that could be that piece that they need.
Still on the street. Here are my predictions. You can tell me what you think about him. I'm going with Sale too. Mike Trout is like Jordan or Tom Brady, always the best player, doesn't always win MVP. He's going to edge out Mookie Betts. Max Scherzer, old reliable with the Nationals. He's won 2 or 3 already.
Good pick.
Paul Goldschmidt. I was just reading up on him. I'm sort of buying into him in St. Louis, new location. I
like
wanted
it.
to say Bryce Harper, but I just don't think
I can
that's
understand
gonna
that. I like your NL
I want
picks.
to root.
Those are smart
and,
picks.
I have Red Sox, Dodgers, part deux. We never see that. When was the last time we had repeat World Series?
I can't remember, but you're going to have the Dodgers making it to the World Series 3 years in a row.
That's true. I'm just not really buying into anyone else in the NL. I guess the Brewers. I just don't want the Brewers.
The Braves were good last year. The Phillies could go and do it this year. And the Rockies, that was another team that I was looking at. They're like, they made a run of it last year.
That's more what I'm rooting for, Red Sox.
Well, if I wanted...
So I can spend 3 or 4 days in Los Angeles again.
Well, there you go. If I was rooting for one, I want to see the Red Sox because that means work longer for us. And then I want to see the Giants in it because I like Mad Bum. I'm a big Mad Bum guy. I'm not afraid to say it.
Madison Bumgarner.
Yes, Madison Bumgarner, for those who don't know, keeping track.
A baseball nerd like Nick Friar.
Nerd.
All right, he'll be
guy.
joining us most Sundays and Tuesdays throughout the season, breaking down the Red Sox. He also does some Celtic stuff with us as well. We'll have more from the Sports Wrap coming up right after this.